Actually, before we start the game, I don't have a companion.
No, they have not printed new companions, and our decks are too small to have the Urian. Welcome to the Cardmarket feature match, where Yemen and I, and often people far better at Magic than we are, play paper Magic.
We sling that paper.
Oh yeah, it's the best format. You get to shuffle cards in your hand.
And today we've got very special paper to sling,
yeah.
Carl, because today Dominaria United releases alongside so many powerful cards. So last week we already played some Pioneer with new cards, me and Toffel. This week we're gonna bring some modern decks powered up by new cards. I'm excited. My deck's really good.
Oh, I am very excited. I've been waiting for this deck to be good for a while, and I think it's good. And speaking of good, if you guys think this content is, and it's the first time you came along because of Spice 8 Rack or whatever, you know what? Just tell your friends about it. You probably have a play group. They probably like Magic and YouTube. If you just recommend the show, maybe they like it. Maybe they subscribe.
Maybe they
I don't know. And while you call them up to tell them to watch the Cardmarket feature match, just talk to them. They're your friends. They probably want to talk to you.
Yeah, they want to hear from you. Who also wants to hear from you is the Shopping Wizard. It's the most efficient way to, we're on Cardmarket here, so it's the most efficient way to get your stuff on Cardmarket. You enter a wants list, right, like a deck list, for example, and the Shopping Wizard goes around and wrecks its brain to find the best combination of shipments for you to reduce shipment costs, but also reduce card prices, so you get the best deck deal you can.
Yeah, let the algorithm save you money, and in the meantime, potentially let us entertain you. Let's get into the games. So in Dominaria United, there's a cycle of 5 lords that just seem to go straight into constructed formats. They're power level. Now, there's one for clerics. There's not a shelf for it. Goblins, we didn't feel like in a goblin-y mood today. Elves are just always gonna be bad, so we decided today, we're playing Merfolk. Now, for those of you who aren't sleeping with the fishes, what Merfolk does is it plays a lot of cards called Lords. Now, what Lords do is they usually give +1/+1 to each of the other creatures that share a type with them. And sometimes some other things, like Island Walk. In this case, they're usually called after a card called Lord of Atlantis, which we're playing in our deck, but we get a new Lord with Dominaria United. Merfolk is usually suffered from being a deck that plays at sorcery speed. It plays at solitaire time. So usually you play all your hand out onto the table, you attack with a bunch and hope your opponent doesn't kill you on the swing back. Medallion Hexcatcher actually has flash. So it combos well with the card Counter Spell, whereas you can keep up mana for interactive spells, for removal, or you can just flash it in, make your creatures bigger, or potentially use it as a curse catcher ability, whereas you can sacrifice your Merfolk to counter other spells. I think it's a huge advantage to the Merfolk deck, and I think it's going to give it a lot of new angles of play. Let's see how it goes.
We already played Pioneer with new cards. Today we're playing Modern with new cards, and that Leaf Crowned Visionary is looking pretty good for Modern, so I'm going to take it for a spin. That's like the new Dominaria card that I want to try out today. An Elf Lord that provides card draw at 2 mana is just too wild. I also included 1 copy of the green Phyrexian dude who lets you pay Phyrexian mana, because pumping all your creatures on the board just by casting green creature spells sounds like an Elves deck's dream, right? Apart from that, it's a pretty straightforward elf deck. There's Collected Company, there's a bunch of Mana Dorks, there's Heritage Druid. There's a lot of combo potential, but I'm really bad against any sort of board interaction, like a board wipe or Fury, Solitude, that kind of stuff just wrecks me. Let's get into the games.
Well, this deck hasn't had some love. You know what else hasn't had some love for a while? These dice. Do you want to high roll to see who goes first?
For sure.
Ooh,
that's a spicy
I wish we were
4.
playing Mixin.
Yeah,
that's much better.
Much better.
All right, good luck. Have fun. I wish you no mulligans.
And to you.
Thank you. How kind. This hand is great. I mean, for those of you who don't play these kinds of decks, the importance of having an Ether Vial on turn 1 cannot be discounted. It'll basically allow me to play 2 spells a turn really quickly in the game and just snowball advantage on my opponent, Yemen. You're supposed to go first on this. You're supposed to fire first, but I will keep.
Yeah, I'll keep 2. This hand is awesome, except for the fact that Dryad Arbor has Summoning Sickness, so that's kind of awkward. I will still keep it, obviously. It will play out nicely, just the sequencing is a bit awkward. Turn 1, I have to start out with the Forest to get the Elvish Mystic out onto the battlefield, but that means that if I don't draw a second land, next turn I only have access to 2 mana instead of 3 because of the Dryad Arbor. And even before doing anything, Carl, I have a big choice to make, but I will go for a Forest.
Oh, I thought it was a Gemstone Mine. All right.
No, not when I'm going first. Anyways, I'll follow that with an Elvish Mystic.
I will draw for turn.
Please do.
I'll play an island. I feel like we both brought tribal decks, because I'll play another Vial.
All right.
And pass the turn to you.
So the easy choice would be to say you're playing Merfolk. The interesting choice would be to say you're
Humans
playing
with
humans.
bad mana.
I'm not sure if humans ever played one island. Anyways, I won't get stuck up rambling. I will take my draw. That's a good one. Now, Carl, let me tell you, this turn will be very awkward. But I will cast an Elvish War Master.
It is the Elfies after all.
And I'll play a Dried Arbor. Which
You can't have that for green?
I can't.
It's not even an elf.
I'll put it up there though.
Yeah, it's a creature.
It's a creature. And with that, my turn ends.
I'll draw for turn. I will put a counter on Etherva. If I have a Lord of Atlantis in hand, it can give my creatures Island Walk, and I have to decide if I'm prioritizing Yamin's blocking or just tempo out of the gates. I have a Tide Shaper, which could turn one of his Dryad Arbor into a Dryad Isla. I don't know. It seems good because it would make my creatures unblockable, but I think right now the bodies on the board are more important, so I should just play out my creatures, use it as a 1-drop that just becomes bigger instead of actually kicking it and hoping that it screws Yamin's mana. Yamin has a lot of stuff that costs 1 green and 1 colorless anyways. I don't think I'll be causing that much harm. All right, your suspicions where so far.
All right, there's no second island in humans.
No, there's no second island in humans. I'll play a Silver Gill Adept. That's not a new one. And I will reveal another Silver Gill Adept with it, showing you my hand.
Yeah.
In exchange, I get an extra card in it, though. So I'll draw this, and I will pass the turn to you.
Silver Gill Adept will never feel bad to cast. The card
it's
is just bonkers.
No, with Power Creep, at some point you'll have free spells that if you pitch a card from your hand, you get to draw 4. I don't know, we'll see. We'll see what Modern Horizons 3 brings.
Oh man, Carl, I've got a plan now. But to execute that plan, I have to do something else first. You're in trouble now, because I'm gonna do some really explosive things. First up, it's time for Heritage Druid.
Oh yes, here come the explosive things.
Yeah. Here's
It comes with an elf, yes.
Elf Warrior because of the Elvish War Master. And finally, it's time to deploy the Elvish Archdruid. And Carl isn't putting on that much pressure, so I think it should stick around, hopefully, and I shouldn't die yet. Because the text on Heritage Druid says to tap 3 untapped elves I control, it doesn't tap, like the elves don't tap themselves, so they don't suffer from summoning sickness.
Exactly.
So this elf can get tapped right away alongside the Heritage Druid himself and the Elvish War Master. So I have 3 mana in my pool. I will cast an Elvish Archdruid, which gives other elf creatures I control +1/+1 and taps for 1 mana per elf.
That's a lot so far.
So my elves are already growing. This one would trigger a second time, but unfortunately it's only once per turn. But I do have another follow-up, which is the newest, the spiciest! Leaf Crowned Visionary. What a bonkers card. 2 mana, 1/1. Other elves you control get +1/+1. And whenever you cast an elf spell, you may pay 1 green. If you do, draw a card.
And you just so happen to have a lot of floating mana. This is gonna get out of hand. I was expecting something bigger. So far you've got a lot of elves on the board, but they're not doing much. It's a bit like Birding Man. We'll see what your payoff. I'm expecting a giant frog soon.
That's just rude, Carl. See what those elves will do to you next turn.
I'm not looking forward to it.
Go ahead.
You played a lot of elves. I'm gonna play a second fish. It's not. I'm gonna flash in a Tide Shaper.
Oh, you can't kick it that way.
I cannot kick it this way. So now it's currently just a 1/1 for 1.
All right.
If I had paid 2, I chose to play Silver Gill Adept instead. I could have turned one of your islands into forests into an island. I'll untap. I'll put a counter on my other pile. I'll draw for turn. I feel the heat coming. I'm going to declare attacks.
Please do.
Do I die on the swing back? That's for future Carl to deal with. I'll attack with both.
I won't block.
Wait, it has flash anyways, but might as well do it this way. I'm gonna flash in a Vidalian Hexcatcher. I play new cards too, Yamin.
Man.
So it's a 2 mana for a 1/1. It's a Merfolk Wizard with flash this time. Surprise fish. Other Merfolk you control get +1/+1. And if I sacrifice a Merfolk, I counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 1.
All right, so that's a curse catcher for every Merfolk.
Also, Lord of Atlantis. It does both. It doesn't give Island Walk. And now I'm gonna use the Secret Flash. I have my flash tool for when I don't have flash, but I'm also gonna flash the second medallion hexcatcher. This would be an attack for 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Down to 13. First blood.
First blood, it's a lot of blood. And then I'll be mana efficient. I'll cast a second Netherra.
All right, so you can freely flash in an Ornithopter right now.
Your turn.
My turn. I'll untap. I'll take my draw. And while I'm stuck on 2 lands, I'm not stuck on 2 mana. So how do I do this best? This turn is going to be a mess, and it's not quite obvious to me how I want to sequence things, when I want to play the Praetor, when I want to activate the Elvish Archdruid, because the Elvish Archdruid is a single activation unless I find a Kyrian Ranger. All right, Carl, I think I will start off with tapping these 2 and this Elvish Mystic.
Okay.
To cast an Izuri Renegade Leader.
Can you give that one a read?
It's a 3-mana 2/2 Elf Warrior. Not very impressive. But it's got 1 green, regenerate another target elf, and 2 colorless and 3 green. Elf creatures you control get +3/+3 and gain trample until end of turn.
That's a lot.
That's a lot. I will tap these 3. No. These 3 elves to produce 3 floating green mana.
All right.
Of which I will pay 1 to draw a card off the Leaf Crown Visionary.
Okay, and it's whenever you cast it into this battlefield.
Whenever I cast.
Okay.
All right, so this one enters the battlefield.
Ooh, it's foil.
Yeah, it's a nice one from the vault. This trigger creates an Elf Warrior token.
I feel like you're popping off here.
I kind of am. Oh, the sequencing is really hard, and I'm sure comments will roast me. I'll tap this Elvish Archdruid to generate 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana. So I go up to 10 mana in my pool.
Okay.
And I'll go down to 5 mana in my pool.
What are you doing?
By casting a Defiler of Vigor. Another new Dominaria United card.
I'm terrified. That's not an elf. Why are you playing this?
Well, the text is quite good. First up, it's a 5 mana 6/6 trample. All right, solid, you think? But it also turns 1 of each green mana pip of green permanent spells I cast into Phyrexian mana. So I can pay 2 life once per spell. Sounds good. And then also, whenever I cast a green permanent spell, I put a +1/+1 counter on each creature I control.
Each creature, Yamin!
Let's see how many creatures I
The
have.
hubris on this!
However, it's not an elf, so I may not pay the additional 1. But I think we'll work around that.
Yeah.
So what I'll do next is I'll go down to 4 mana and pay 2 life, going down to 11, to cast a Dwynen's Elite, which is an elf, so I pay 1 additional mana to draw a card right now. And then, because it's a green permanent spell, all of my creatures get a +1/+1 counter. Now, the way that we're gonna do this,
because we don't have enough +1/+1 counters, we don't have enough dice,
is I'll put a 1 on the rightmost creature, and then put the Dwynen's Elite to the right of that. So, just to be clear, we've got 3 creatures with Summoning Sickness here. We've got 1 creature without Summoning Sickness here. And all of
these
have
+1/+1 counters.
Exactly.
And this is 1 Dwynen's Elite alone in the corner.
What do you mean alone? It brings along another Elf Warrior token, not because of the War Master, but because of its own effect. Because when it enters and I control another elf, I get an additional elf. All right.
I feel like you're playing solitaire.
Yeah, I do feel like that as well. I will tap Izuri, the elf token, and the other elf token generated by the Dwynen's Elite to go up to 6 mana in my pool. And then I will go down to 2 mana in my pool and try to cast a Collected Company.
Oh, and you still have 2 mana, so I'd have to sack 3 creatures to counter that?
You would have to sacrifice 3 creatures. That being said, I do not have additional mana currently on the board. I have to tap 3 untapped elves, which I do not.
Sacrificing 3 creatures to counter a potential 2? It's more, I'll go for the angle that possibly you'll fizzle.
Yeah, let's see what it hits. I'll look at the top 6 cards of my library. Bad news, Carl, I do have stuff to put into play.
That is bad news.
First up, I'll put into play another Leaf Crowned Visionary.
Seems not good.
Yeah, no, it doesn't seem good. And then a Nettle Sentinel. Now, Nettle Sentinel is a classic amongst elves. It doesn't untap during your untap step. That's not bad.
How bad?
But it does untap whenever you cast a green spell. We've got additional elves entering the battlefield, but that doesn't cause anything to trigger. But additional elves means additional mana. I'll tap these 3 elves.
Yes. In retrospect, I probably should have played my Tide Shaper, turning his card into an island, just because I don't think I can ever get through that many blockers. But in my defense, I didn't know it was physically possible to put that many elves on the board.
And with that mana, I will cast an Elvish Archdruid, paying 2 life, going down to 9. Yeah, sure. What could possibly happen, Carl? I'll go down to 3 mana in my pool. Now, with this thing on the stack, there's 2 triggers. First up, we get another +1/+1 counter on all my creatures.
Let's tidy this up a bit for the viewers.
So these have 2 counters by now.
Yep.
All of these. And then all of these have 1 counter.
Yes.
Right?
Okay.
And then there's another trigger that untaps the Nettle Sentinel. And then there's another trigger that lets me pay 1 mana, which I will do, to draw a card. And then there's another trigger on the stack. I might pay an additional mana if I want to. All right. The second draw trigger resolves. I will pay that second mana. So I go down to 1 mana in my pool, drawing another card. Let's see what happens. All right. Then the Elvish Archdruid comes into play. Nothing else triggers for now. But I will play a forest because, believe it or not, I have not played a land yet. And I will pay 2 life, going down to 7, to cast another Nettle Sentinel. Now, Carl, you know what this means. This is gonna get exhausting.
So let's further the piles.
We've got 1 pile with 3 +1/+1 counters, 1 pile with 2 +1/+1 counters. This Nettle Sentinel does untap, but unfortunately I don't want to tap the War Master because that can still attack. So yeah, no mana for me there. All right, and then this one has 1 +1/+1 counter. And then I pay 1 mana to draw 1 more card.
You can do that again if you want.
I may, but
You choose not to?
actually I do. I will pay with Forest, draw another card. Then this enters the battlefield. And now I will tap the Nettle Sentinels and the Elvish Archdruid.
Watch out, you might run out of cards in your
I
deck.
might run out of cards in my deck.
Or you might have too much fun.
I will go down to 5 life. I might die here, I don't know, but I'm just having a blast.
You're just having a good time.
To cast a Dwynen's Elite, and I still have 2 green mana in my pool, right?
Okay.
I produced 3. So there's a bunch of trigger. First up, the Nettle Sentinels untap.
Yep.
Secondly, this goes up to 4 counters, this goes up to 3 counters, this goes up to 2 counters.
And this goes to 1.
This goes to 1. I may pay mana to draw cards, and I will do so. Twice, in fact, so I don't have any mana in my pool, but I do draw 2 cards. All right, Dwynen's Elite enters the battlefield.
What does it come with?
It comes with a 1/1 warrior token. I will put these down here.
That's
Wow, two additional elves. That's handy, Carl, you might say, because I will tap the
Yaman,
land.
I see the rating on the wall. You have a Zuri. You can hit me for like 20. I don't want this video to be as long as the undirected cut of the Lord of the Rings. So we'll just go to game 2. I'll scoop up my fish.
All right, that's fair. For sideboarding, I don't change up anything because I don't see a need for it. I don't see any cards that fit the matchup, so I'll just, try to do the same thing again in game 2.
Okay, sideboards. Nothing. You're not usually expecting to play against elves, so it's not common to come prepared. I could bring in Grafdigger's Cage in case he has any shenanigans with Collected Company, but nah, I think the cards in my deck are better than the cards in my sideboard in this matchup. We're just keeping it the way it is. All right, Yaman, I gave my fish some better weapons. They came with the wrong kind of fish tank the first time.
Yeah, I see.
So I'm hopeful for game 2.
Yeah, me too.
My deck keeps on giving me bangers. Notably, we don't have an Ether Vial. And this deck does need the Ether Vial, but you don't always. And in this case, I get to curve 1-drop into 2-drop into 3-drop into 2 2-drops. This is gonna be good. It's good enough. I think it'll get me there.
This hand is a tiny bit awkward because there's no second land. That being said, there's so much mana in the hand that I think it might be a keep. Carl, this is quite a hand.
So may I kick off the raises?
Please do.
So I feel like this was a misplay last game. Putting my Tide Shaper as fast as possible.
Yeah.
But
You just have to put
we'll
on the
find
pressure.
out. We'll find out. This is testing. This is science, Yaman.
Is the science now about to go to me?
Yes, my fish and I will pass the turn.
I will upkeep science, untap science, draw science. I will play a blooming marsh science. When do you think
did mention another color.
I did mention another color. I'll play Lanoa Elf science.
Oh.
I'll pass the turn science.
Okay, no, I think we gotta give it a break. I'll draw for turn. I'll play a land. I know you're not gonna block with the Lanoa Elves, but just to give you even less incentive, I'm gonna play a Lord of Atlantis.
Yep.
And attack for 2.
First blood.
First blood. Last time, it wasn't enough blood. I'll pass the turn to you.
Last time it was like 7 blood. Not finding a second land is unfortunate, but this is kind of to be expected when you keep a one-lander. Carl, now you'll see why this hand was very special. I'll play these 2 and pass the turn.
Oh! There's a glimmer of hope, you say? I'm gonna play an island.
Yeah, I'll
Gonna attack with the Knucklehead Brigade.
Down to 14.
Down to 14. I will play a Sphilion of Sea and Sky. It's not a new one, but it's not a card people have seen a lot of. It's a 3/4 legendary creature Merfolk God. It has indestructible as long as I control at least 2 other Merfolk, which I do. And whenever it attacks, I draw a card. And other Merfolk I control have Ward 1, meaning whenever another Merfolk I control becomes a target of a spell or ability and opponent controls, I counter it unless they pay 1.
This is such a classic Modern Horizons 2 card.
Just add more text.
It's a 3-mana 3/4 that draws a card when attacking. How much more text can you add on it?
I'll pass to you.
I'll untap. Take my draw. Still no second land is, once again, annoying. But what's most annoying is that there's no forest. The Blooming Marsh is not a forest, so the Kieran Rangers don't do anything. Otherwise, I could bounce my land, play it again, have access to more mana, but it's getting awkward. I'll first play a Leaf-Crowned Visionary.
Ooh. We saw last time that it was muy bueno.
And then I will cast a Nettle Sentinel, paying 1 to draw a card.
Ooh, very good.
That was not the card I was looking for, and I'll just pass the turn.
I am so thrilled that you were stumbling here. Okay, I'll untap. I'll draw. The fish have to be piranhas because all they do is clock. I'm gonna attack. I have a trigger.
Yeah.
I'm gonna draw a card.
Yeah.
You're right, it is quite good.
I mean, I guess I have to block. There's so much pressure here. I assume Carl has a Lord in hand, but I have to take the block here. Otherwise, I just, trading off the Nettle Sentinel is fine.
All right, I think it's time for surprise fish, Yaman.
Oh no.
I'm gonna cast a Vodalkin Hexcatcher.
All right.
So this is bigger than it was originally.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna take 4. Oh, bad.
No.
16.
Oh no!
And I'm gonna dismember. I hope it doesn't like its members. I will dismember that creature.
No more members.
No more members. So you take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Woo! My cards have been kind to me.
Down to 6. Ouch! Lord and a removal spell? That's too much. That's very annoying. Also because it takes away even more power of my board. I don't think I can get out of this.
I'll pass the turn to you.
I don't really see an out for me here, Carl.
I don't either. I'm thrilled that you're saying that.
And certainly not if I don't pick up another land. I mean, yeah, I'll just, I'll play. So this hand would have been really good with a forest because I do have a Kieran Ranger.
I see.
I'll play another one of those 2, and then I will also play a Dwynen's Elite.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's enough.
We'll see about that. This one does come with a warrior token, and I'll pass the turn.
I'll untap. I hear some bells ringing.
Dong.
They're for you.
Dong.
Because I'll play a Tide Shaper and kick it. Go fish! Go fish!
So this becomes an island.
So that becomes an island.
Yeah.
My creatures happen to have Island Walk. I'm just gonna play this. I'll add insult to injury and swing for more than lethal.
So that's 17 damage.
It's more than 6.
It is. I go to -11.
Let's see what you can do with the play.
Game 3. Seeing that this member, deliver the final blow, that might actually be a hindrance in developing my game plan. So I'm gonna board in 2 Veil of Summers for game 3 because that hinders Tide Shaper and the Dismember and any other shenanigans Carl might bring out of the board, or I don't know.
Back for more, I see.
I'd like to play first.
That makes a lot of sense. Still good luck for sportsmanship here and all that stuff that was on Toral's AI card.
Yeah. This hand is basically a joke. but it's a pretty good joke. So I will keep it. I don't think in tournament setting I would keep this hand, but it is just a fun hand to play out.
Well, how's your hand look?
My hand's really risky. I'll keep what could ever go wrong.
So now that you say that, especially if you're going to do something bad, and the viewers at home are going to be very upset with me, but I really want to do it, so I'm going to keep.
All right.
I'm sorry, people at home. This hand is not optimal curve, but like the fish I'm playing, I'm attracted to shiny, fancy things, and subtlety and elf on turn 1. It's what I came here to do. It's not optimal, but it's a lot of fun.
So Carl, I feel like speed is something that's really nice in this matchup, so I brought some speed. I'll name Elves and play an Elvish Mystic.
I'm so sorry, don't hate me. I'm gonna pitch a glass pool mimic. To subtlety to evoke it onto the battlefield.
That is wild. All right.
Would you like to put it under or on top of your library?
I think I have to put it on top. Evoking turn 1 subtlety is... It is a disgrace that this is so good against my hand.
I have to sacrifice
This
the
is
subtlety.
brutal, Carl. Don't do this to me. Oh, my head sucks.
Who has the play now?
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
man. I'll draw for turn. I will play an island and another vial. I'll pass the turn to you.
But I mean, at least you're down like 3 cards with the Ether Vial not being a card, yada yada. Ooh, nice draw. Go ahead.
Yaman?
No, Carl! You cannot keep
I'm gonna
doing
pitch a Italian hexcatcher to subtlety.
I'll put this on top. So the only good thing about the second subtlety is that it takes away a lot of cards from Carl's hand, also with the Ether Vial, right? So maybe he doesn't have enough gas left in his hand to deliver the beatdown, right, quickly, so I can recover.
Have you seen the movie Groundhog Day?
I have.
I feel like this is very similar. I'll put a counter on my other vial. I'll draw for turn. I'll play an island and a Lord of Atlantis.
Yeah.
Pass the turn to you.
The clock is on. All right, I'll untap. I'll take my draw. I'll play an Elvish Mystic. There are not even 2 cards in your hand, so take your turn, Carl.
Safe. I'll put a counter on my other vial. I'll draw. I will attack with my Lord of Atlantis.
I will not block.
Luckily, my draws have been kind to me. I'll play an island and a Spillin.
That is the most absurd draw you could have had against mine in like any world. Like
So welcome to turn 1 again against the turn 3. I'll pass the turn to you, Yaman. I'm very sorry.
Is absurd. Let's see how lucky I got. Oh, I should have put everything on the bottom. I drew a land. So what I'll do is I'll fetch.
You take 1. 17.
And I'll grab myself a forest.
All right.
With that, I will play a Heritage Druid. And then I'll play an uncounterable Dwynen's Elite.
Ooh. Comes with a friend.
Comes with a friend. And then I'll tap these 3 to play my entire hand. A Nettle Sentinel and 2 Heritage Druids. And now you see why this hand was a bit sketchy, because it doesn't have any follow-up.
Doesn't have a payoff.
You know,
Top of your library.
Do you see this card? Go ahead.
I hope it's real bad. I'll draw. I will start off by paying 2. I'm playing a Silver Galata.
Oh wow, yeah.
I'll draw a card. And I just got paid off. This is good. I will kick a Tide Shaper.
Oh, what? Oh no.
Targeting your Cavern of Souls.
Yeah.
Turning it into an island. You still get it. I play islands, right? They're not that bad. I'll declare attacks.
Sure.
I'll draw a card when I attack with Spillin.
Stupid.
I'll draw for turn.
Yeah.
And I'll hit you in the face for 6.
I take 6 down to 11.
And I'll just play an island.
All right.
Pass the turn to you.
My turn, eh? I just realized the Lord doesn't have Island Walk himself. I could have blocked. I could have traded. Come on. With this draw, I feel like I deserve a collected company here. Like,
Let's see if your deck is kind to you.
don't I?
Wait, no.
I'm not gonna complain. I just have to think. After a bunch of thinking, I have come to the conclusion that I will do this for x equals 3. It's a finale of devastation.
Ooh, very nice. Now I see the glimmer in your eye at the beginning of your turn. Yeah.
This one untaps because, you know.
Yep. Cast a green spell.
And I will get myself an Azuri. Now, of course, that one doesn't directly impact the board, but it will, hopefully, next turn.
Yeah, that seems like a lot of damage.
Yeah, and I don't think I can attack right now. Pass the turn to you.
I'll untap. I'll draw.
So, Carl, please just do me a favor and don't find the Lord.
So the stakes, I love the stakes here, okay?
Yeah.
So we get to play a sub-game of Magic where we're here to have fun, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna bluff. I'm just gonna play this Mutavault.
All right.
I don't have lethal, and I think you have lethal back. But I do have 3 of my Flash Lord left,
Yeah.
and I can draw a card when Sylvian attacks.
I mean, you can flash in any Lord, right? With the Ether Vial?
I don't have one currently. If this draws me a Lord, I think I win. I think it's lethal.
I mean, how many Lords, how many 2-mana Lords do you have in your deck? 4 of the new ones, I assume?
12.
So 3.
Plus Glasspool
So
Mimic.
these 2 are out. Yeah, but Glasspool Mimic you can't flash in. So it's 10.
it costs 3,
So it's
yeah.
10 Lords left on all those cards. I don't know. Seems like something.
It seems like a risk I want to take. I'm gonna attack. Yaman.
Yeah.
Before blocks, I'll have a trigger.
You will have a trigger.
Can I flip it?
Of course you can flip.
Can I have a drum roll?
Yes, please. Oh no! What are the odds? Oh my god.
Oh, they all have Island Walk.
That's so
I'm
stupid.
so happy I did this.
Ah,
Good games.
you still have to tap that Ether Vial.
I'll tap the Ether Vial.
Good game.
Good game.
There were 10 outs in your deck. 10 out of all those cards, right? Have you ever done math?
Yaman, you've played against me. You know I don't know math. Hopefully, your friends know math, because then you should tell them about these videos and they can calculate how lowly percentage my play was. But I still won. I'll take it. It's a victory. A victory is a victory.
A victory is a victory. But in the meantime, once you've subscribed below, this is it for the video. Like, there's no more content we can show you.
But
There is more content on the YouTube channel.
yes, there is. We post a video every day, and there's a whole playlist of these Cardmarket feature match videos.
Yeah, if you're only into gameplay, there's an entire playlist for you. If you're into trivia and that kind of stuff as well, just, oh my god, go crazy.
We do a lot of stuff. We have songs every once in a while. Listen, go enjoy that. In the meantime, we'll head out, play some more Paper Modern, and we'll see you guys in the next video.